Hi, hello. My name is Ayo and I am with these guys, Stringify. It's good to have you again around today. Previously, we looked at how you can deploy Power Platform solution to Azure DevOps as your source control and how you can make commit, all right? Update your files and all of that in your solution. In this tutorial, I will then go further to show you how you can then deploy your solution from one environment to another. Beautiful thing is you can deploy as unmanaged, as managed solution, or even as both. But in this tutorial, I'll just show you how to write a simple pipeline to help you move your solution from one environment to another and then publish customizations. All right. Now, stay tuned, relax, follow through the tutorial. If you have questions, drop it in the comment section below, and I will be glad to answer that. See you in the tutorial. Let's go, people.
All right, welcome everyone. Welcome. It's good to have you again join today's tutorial. If you followed the very first one that was done on deploying or pushing your Power Platform solution, Power App solution to a repository on Azure DevOps, I'm sure it will be easy to follow through this quick tutorial on pushing your solution using Azure DevOps from one environment to the other. It could be from your dev environment to your testing environment or staging environment, or from your staging environment to your production environment. Okay, and in the first tutorial, which you would find the link to that tutorial in the caption of this video, we already dealt with a lot of things around authentication, security, and everything required to set up your Azure DevOps for the Microsoft Power Platform. We touch base with the Power Platform build tools. Quite a detailed video. I think about 40-50 minute video. Take time to watch it. It will serve as a background or a foundation to this particular lesson. Okay, so today what we're looking at, as earlier stated in the introduction video you watched, is to say that we'll be looking at pushing Power Platform or Power App solution to production. All right, so in the first video we were working on this project. If currently you can see we are on Azure DevOps, on Microsoft Azure DevOps, and we worked on this solution. We published this solution from our Power Apps environment or our Power Platform environment to Azure DevOps. If I take you down to the Power Apps, you would see on the Power Apps, let's navigate back to the environment we worked in the last time, and I go to solutions. Then you can see that this is Power Apps DevOps solution. So this solution, a very simple solution. I just have a canvas app and a table inside. So we were able to push this from our Power Platform environment to Azure DevOps. If I open the project, this project on Azure DevOps up, you will see under repos or repository, you will see that here you have that solution with the canvas app, and under entity, the entity account. All right, good. So to learn how to do all of that, like I said, check out the very first video. Cool. So today we want to see how to now push this from one environment. Currently this solution is sitting within the environment called Adams environment. So we're going to be pushing this from Adams environment to tutorials production environment. Okay, now let's go ahead to do this. Very simple, very straightforward to do all of that. First thing we'll do is we'll go to pipeline. All right, we'll go to pipelines. Pipelines is where we write automations for DevOps. So your tasks and all of that, you do them within the pipelines in DevOps. So we're going to go to pipelines and we'll go and create a release. So what happens is when we create a release, we are saying we're releasing this particular solution from this instance to another instance. So we'll go to release. All right. And then you will do new release pipeline. All right. New release pipeline. And it's asking us for your release stack and all of that. But in our case, we'll just do an empty job instead of going through the YAML model. We'll do an empty job. Okay, empty job. Let's just give it a name. Let's call it deploy to production. Yeah, or deploy to prod. Let's leave it at that. Deploy to prod. I think every other thing looks fine. I would save. All right, I would save. Yeah, I will hit on OK, and then you can see what we have right in here. Okay, then the next thing we'll do is we'll click to add an artifact. Now I talked about this, I think in the last. Artifact is your project file, so it's like a deployment file. All right, when you're working within DevOps. All right, so we'll click on add an artifact, and then it's asking us what do we want to use. Now if I use build, then it means I want to go through the entire YAML structure and all of that, and then building all of the Azure artifact and all. But in this case, we'll just make it simple. We'll go for Azure repos. All right, we'll just stick to Azure repo. And then for the project, so it's asking us for project. So if I click on this drop down, you can see all the project I have within this organization. So you can see I am in an organization called Revelatory Training. That is the organization. Then I'll just go ahead and select my Power Apps DevOps. Cool. And then for my source repository, I'll just go ahead and select the source repository where the project currently is sitting. Same thing, I'll select if you click here, you select my branch, is the main branch, and then I'll just leave every other thing the way they are. All right, just leave every other thing. So you can see the source alias here already, Power Apps DevOps. That's fine. I'll leave it the way they are, and then I will click on add. So I've added my artifact right now. Okay, artifact added. So after that, I'll go to variables, and I will declare a variable. Remember when we did, when we uploaded to DevOps repository from our Power Platform environment, we set up a variable and called the variable solution name. And then the next thing you will do is to put the name of the project, right? So the project name, right? What I'll do is I can get it directly from here. This is the project name here from my dev environment. I'll copy that. That's the schema name or the logical name. All right, I'll paste that here. So what I'm doing is I'm setting a variable, and then the variable will host or will house any the actual schema name of your project, which exactly is what you've seen me do on the screen. Once you have done exactly that, I'm just going to save. All right, I'll save that, and then the next thing we now want to do is go to task. In our first tutorial about Power Apps and DevOps, you'll see that task is where we now write the flow. All right, pipelines are like you're writing a flow of how you want an action to happen. Then the first thing is, in doing all of this, don't forget that I will click on agent job, and I'm going to go check this button that says allow script to access or authentication, so that when we run the pipeline, it can authenticate whatever credentials we've leveraged on, or whatever authentication model or script we decide to go for. All right, in this scenario, so you want to do that. Let me name my pipeline. All right, it's good to always give your pipeline good name and all of that. So I can just say let me say Power Apps Prod, something like that. Power Apps Prod. I think that's fine. Let's save it again. So okay, now let's start. So the first thing we will do is we'll create all the steps we're looking at. So would first thing, before you start writing any task, really you need to first have the Power Platform build tools, all right, which if you want to understand how to get that, check the first video, you would understand how to do that. All right, so the Power Platform build tools are the files or the features needed they're like the action cards, the trigger cards you need to be able to build a pipeline, right? A pipeline structure. So you can see that you can do quite a few things: copy an environment, backup an environment, create an environment, publish customizations, all the actions you would normally do within the Power Platform environment or within the Power Apps and all of that. You can see that you have all of them here created as a more like a container that you can use for your pipelines, right? And in writing any of these, the first thing you want to do first is to bring in the Power Apps tool installer. So the Power Apps tool installer is like a trigger for anything you want to write within that system. You don't have to do anything. It's just plain like this, vanilla. Don't touch anything about it. Just bring it in. It serves as a trigger before you now start writing the other elements you need. Then the next thing you would do is you want to pack the solution. What do we mean by that? The solution already exists in one environment. Then you want to be able to package the solution. After packaging the solution, then you import the solution into the destination, right? Very simple steps. So I'll go back to agent job, click on the add icon again, and look for Power Platform pack solution. You can see it here, pack solution. All right, I will add that. After packing solution, then the next thing we'll do is to import. So I will go bring it again. The next line of action is Power Platform import. Okay, so I will bring in import solution. You see that, import solution. And then the last thing is you now publish customization, right? So Power Platform publish customizations. Fantastic. So I will add that. So these are the steps we need. All right, we're ready. Let's go, people. So let's go to the very first one. So on the very first one, very straightforward actions. So first thing is, it says declare your source folder for the solution pack where the solution is situated in this scenario, right? So for that, okay, so for that we'll bring up the solution. You see, just click on the ellipses right in here, and then you can see the artifact here, right? The artifact. So if you click on this and then you just click on OK, and then it brings it in, you can see your instance right here, right? So the Power Apps DevOps has been brought right in here. Then you want to then add to this by doing /, then bring in the solution name right in there. So /that. So I'll just bring that in Power Apps DevOps. Now for the output file, so if you remember in the first file we declared what we just use, we'll bring in the Azure DevOps directory structure, and then we'll map it to the variable, and then we zip the file. So we need to zip the file. So what we'll just do is we'll bring in declare the variable instance here. So I'll do build right dot staging. So this is just an Azure directory structure. All right, Azure Active Directory. Cool. All right, and then I'll bring in that variable we created, right, which is what? Solution name. All right, .zip. So we'll zip the file. So just like if you manually in your Power Apps export a file, right, don't forget it will export it as a zipped file, and then you are able to import back into production or any other environment that exported zipped file. That exactly is the same thing you see us do right in here. Okay, now this is just the file. This will help you as for the import to package that particular product out of that environment, out of this environment. Now, how do you want to import? As managed, as unmanaged? Don't forget, if you're going to production, one of the best thing is in production is good to always go managed so that it's not editable. All right, or you might want to go on managed, or you might want to do both. All right, in this scenario, I think I'll just for now maintain it as unmanaged, even though I'm pushing to production, but I'll still leave it as unmanaged intentionally for the sake of the training. But you can always choose your own solution type. Okay, apart from that, I will leave every other thing the way they are. Nothing else will I be touching in here. And then we're done. And then we'll go to import. Now, when you get to the point where we're importing the solution, it's asking for service connection. So which means it needs to have a connection to the production environment. So remember that in the last training session, we already created a connection to the dev environment. We set up our security structure. In this case, we'll be using the service principal and all of that. So what we'll do is I won't be using the test because I'm not connecting to the test. I will be creating a service connection to the production environment. So before I create the service connection, I would first go to my production environment and create an application user against the app registration we did for the authentication, right? Against that, I'll first go and do that. So first thing, I'll go back to my Power Platform admin environment. I'll go to the production environment. I'll go to settings, right? And in settings, I'll go to users and I'll create an application user, all right, against the security structure we did earlier. So these are just authentication models so that there can be allowance for DevOps to communicate with this production environment. So I'll do new user and I'll do add an app, and then I'll look for that particular user, which is this Power Apps DevOps app. That's the user we created in the last test that we did, right? And then I'll just add select the business unit public, just give it some sort of security role, system admin. I'll save and then I'll create. All right, so once that is done, and I'll go back to my DevOps. Okay, fantastic. So I have that done. If you remember that this was also done in the dev environment, right? If I go to environment and we go to that Adams environment, you would remember that we did that in the last tutorial. If I go to settings and I go to users, application users, you can find the same stuff done in here. Okay, I actually did for dev test, not for Power Apps DevOps. Okay, it's good to see that. Okay, then let me go back and do that then. So we are on the safe side. So I'll just go in and run another one. I guess I've forgotten which one exactly I did. Okay, I'll just do new app user, add an app, and then I'll choose dev test. All right. Then just give it some sort of security role. Yeah, maybe something like that. And then I'll create. Okay, good. All right, so let's go back to DevOps and let's create our service connection. All right, now I'll just do new connection, so I can run all of those here. And then this time around, this is already there's a direct Power Apps connection. Don't forget, I showed us in the last lab right under service connection how you can do it, but now I'm doing it directly from in here, so no difference, right? So it's asking for server URL, which is the environment URL. So your production environment, you go back in there and then you go and copy the environment URL. Are you seeing that? And then you paste that right in here. It's asking for the tenant ID. All right, your tenant ID, you can find it in Azure or in your environment, so you can easily come and then your tenant ID, you can probably go to your default environment and right in your default environment, all right, you would see your tenant ID. Everything after default, that's your tenant ID. You can copy everything after that, all right, and then paste right in here where you have your tenant ID. The application ID is gotten from Azure. Remember when we created our enterprise earlier, there's the dev test. This is the dev test right in here. We have our app ID and those credentials gotten from right in here. Cool. So we'll just copy all of that and then paste in here. So I'll just copy, I'll paste. Our client circuit also was gotten from there. I'll copy there and paste. Okay, good. And for the connection name, I'll just call it prod dev test, something like that, or prod dev, yeah. And I'll say grant access to all permissions, and then I'll save. So you see app ID, client secret, your tenant ID, all of that in there, and I'll save. Good. Close all of that. Now you can see that my prod dev is here now, right? My prod dev is here. So I have a connection, I have an authentication into Azure and then into Power Platform, basically. Cool. I may not need this for now, so I'll just chunk it off. Now for the input file, for the solution input file, what do you put on the input file? All right, on the input file, you will just simply go back in here. You see this output file becomes your input file. So you just copy the output file that you have in here, right? That's build staging.zip. And then when you go back to your import solution, that exactly is what you are putting on your input file. That makes sense, right? You bring that in there. I'll just check that I don't want it to import as asynchronous for now. I don't want that. Click on the advanced option and let's check a few things under here. I'll say I want it to override on manage customization. So if there's any update, add it. Skip product. If there's any dependencies on the product, maybe after product update, skip all of that. So I will check all of that, and then I'm done with that particular step. You see that? Done with that particular step. And then the last thing is to publish customizations. Same thing, select your service principal, your security access, and then I'll do my prod text to my environment. I don't need all of these for now. I'll chunk it off, and then I will uncheck this publish customization as synchronous. For now, I don't need that. All right, I'll just uncheck it, and then every other thing I'll leave as they are. You can see those are the 4 steps we have, right? I'm just going to save everything I have done, and then we are going to do a release to production. All right, I'll do everything. Then at the top right, you see where it says create release. I'll click on that, and then I'll do deploy to production. That's fine. All right, deploy to production. What else? Nothing. That's fine. You can check on it or you can just leave it. Just create your release, no problem. It will do the function. All right, now I will click on the release 1, and then the next thing we'll do is just wait to see. So let's see what happens. Hopefully we have no failures, everything goes fine, and we're back in production. All right, give it a moment, and then boom, we'll see the deployment live in production. All right, so there's a failure, it failed, and I can see that from the error it's saying Power Platform Pack Solution, that context. All right, so let's go back to the task. Power Platform Pack Solution. I think I'm just going to chunk. I'm just going to edit the release. All right, and then let's remove all of this. Good. All right, let's chunk that away. Let me see, variable is good. All right, everything is fine. Let's save again, and then let's run the pipeline again. I think everything looks good. All right, so let's deploy again. Okay, let's go to release, and then let me create a new release, and then let's go. Let's see, release 2. Let's track it, and let's see how it goes. So get a coffee, chill, and let's wait for this. All right, people, so the deployment is completed. All right, so I allowed it complete. So you run all our steps one after the other. All right, and you can see all the task is done. It failed earlier because while we were picking our source folder, all right, if you noticed, I picked the root folder rather than going in to pick the folder containing the solution itself, right? So that was what caused the failure initially. All right, but at least now you can see that the pipeline is done, right? It's gone through every step of the way. But let's go check first if it has pushed this to production, right? Let's see. As you can see now, it says deploy to production succeeded. Now let's go into solutions, and let's change into Power App solutions, and let's change from our Adams environment to tutorials production environment. So I'm going to change to tutorials production, and let's see what we see. Let's see what we have there. Fantastic. Look at it. This is it. Power Apps DevOps solution is right in here. You can see publisher and everything is there. Version 1.0. Managed. No, it is not managed. It's an unmanaged solution, which means I can open it and watch. We can have our account and our DevOps apps in there, right? Good. And we can work on it. All right, fantastic. So everybody will see that we've been able to push from one environment to another, right? Fantastic stuff. Now you can just pick up on this, run from one environment to another, your Power Platform solution. You can see that all resource within that solution is live and direct and all of that. I think I'm just going to end the tutorial here this time around. I'll create more videos around how to do other things, how you can probably deploy both managed and unmanaged at the same time, tutorials around how you can write copy an environment, upgrade an environment, and a few other things around some of the build tools information that we have in creating pipelines, right? So we'll look at all of that maybe in subsequent tutorials. I hope this has been very helpful for you. Drop me comments, drop me reviews. If you have questions, drop your questions. I would be glad to pick up your questions and answer them. If there's a particular video you want me to make, drop it in the comments. I'll be glad to make it. All right, have a wonderful time, everyone, and see you soon. I would advise watch the first video. The first video was a live session. I was having a live training session with a few people. And it was really good to record that session and share on how to deploy solutions like this. All right, see you everybody later. Have a wonderful time.
Wow, such a wonderful time, right? And you see that the beautiful thing is solution was able to move from one environment to another environment, right? That's the intention. The idea is to see how you can optimize the usage of Power Platform solutions and then synchronize DevOps actions with the Microsoft Power Platform. In upcoming tutorials, I will show us other things, how you can leverage on the other Power Platform build tools that we have. And then also we'll then look into the GitHub side of things, how you can use Power Platform actions on GitHub and all of that. Stay tuned as we bring in these tutorials step on step for you. There are times we do live sessions, all right? So you can stay tuned, also follow us through if there are live sessions where we show these things, or if there are recorded tutorials like this to show these things. All right, thank you for staying tuned. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, this tutorial personally, and I will see you next time. Subscribe to this channel, like this video. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful time. Bye, everyone.